In Buffalo, the Bills left Joe Namath's pass receivers empty-handed. With the wind at his back, Joe Namath went to his game plan, who on this day was number 88 tight end Rich Castor. Looking for the quick kill, Namath tore into the injury-plagued Buffalo secondary, this time sending Castor deep down the middle. The result, 6 points. Joe Namath completed only 14 of 36 passing attempts, but his 2 touchdown strikes kept the Jets close. Here Namath rifled a scoring pass to minuscule wide receiver Eddie Bell. But up in Orchard Park, New York, the man of the hour was O.J. Simpson. Following his main man, number 67, Reggie McKenzie, the game's most exciting runner twisted by, hopped over, and carried Jet tacklers for 173 yards and the early NFL rushing lead. Simpson's 173-yard performance didn't include 73 yards nullified by an assortment of penalties. With the additional yardage, Simpson would have totaled an incredible 246 yards rushing, 4 yards short of the NFL single-game record, held by none other than, you guessed it, O.J. Simpson. Here, number 32 followed a fine trap block by Joe DeLamalure, number 68. As if not enough, the Juice scored 2 touchdowns, this one icing the game away. O.J. Simpson earned Player of the Week honors in leading the Bills over the Jets. In Buffalo, the winning formula remains the same: a healthy O.J.
Oddly enough, out in Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium, Joe Namath and the Jets were also passing less and enjoying it more, thanks in part to a runner of the caliber of number 26, Carl Garrett. The Jets will no longer be tethered to the pass, and when you watch number 26, you'll know why. Last Sunday, Carl Garrett ran brilliantly for 135 yards and 1 touchdown. And as the arrow points out, there was nothing selfish about number 26's performance. And there wasn't much missing from number 44, John Riggins' performance either, as the rugged fullback bowled for 145 yards rushing and 2 punch-it-in scores. But the second greatest rushing day in New York Jets history was not merely a tale of individual success as we look at the Jets' interior line, and that will tell. Number 86, Kansas City's 270-pound defensive tackle Buck Buchanan is completely neutralized by a double-team block thrown by Wayne Mulligan and guard Gary Petts, allowing number 44, John Riggins, to burst into the secondary with only defensive backs getting in the way. Despite the Jets' running success, Ed Podolak's touchdown left New York only a slight halftime advantage at 17-14. Then, during the middle of the third period, the Chiefs' number 16, Lynn Dawson, kept matters highly competitive when he lobbed a pass to number 85, Barry Pearson, who suddenly found himself all alone and bringing the Chiefs within 2 points of the Jets at 23-21. But at the top of the fourth quarter, the Jets and Joe departed from their ground maneuvers to settle things the way they've always known best. And sure enough, Namath the Caster did just that to cap a 30-24 victory. In New York's Shea Stadium, the Jets' offensive line was preparing to go the same infantry route. A strong running attack had led them to an easy victory over Kansas City the week before. But the New England Patriots came out tough against the run, so quarterback Joe Namath opted for Plan B, much to the dismay of Patriot defensive backs. Provided with proper time, Joe Willie can still shoot a secondary full of holes. In the first half, Namath threw 13 completions in 16 attempts, and the reason was simple. When a defensive line is kept this far away, the man makes magic happen. Number 88, Rich Caster, scored from the 2-yard line on a quick out as the Patriots watched a once promising season continue to disintegrate. New England coach Chuck Fairbanks anxiously observed the season's debut of his most important player, quarterback Jim Plunkett, number 16. But the effects of a preseason shoulder separation were still painfully apparent. With timing rusty and passes somewhat forced, Plunkett soon realized that his comeback had been attempted too soon. Number 56, Godwin Turk, a second-year linebacker from Southern University, celebrated his first pro interception in grand style. While the Patriots faltered, Namath continued his bombing run, this time tucking the ball into a corner for number 83, Jerome Barkham. In the fourth quarter, third stringer Steve Grogan, number 14, took over for Plunkett and finally gave New England some offense. But the touchdown pass to rookie tight end Russ Francis, number 81, came long after the game had been decided, down where it usually is decided, along the line of scrimmage. It was here that the Jets really did the job. The source of Sugar Bear Hamilton's frustration can be shown on a replay, as number 12 takes advantage of yet another perfect pass pocket. By day's end, Namath had thrown 4 touchdown passes. Castor had 6 receptions for 110 yards, and once again, the glamour figures got most of the credit. But the game ball went to the New York offensive line, the faceless men who made it all happen in a resounding 36-7 New York victory.
In Bloomington, Minnesota's Autry Beeman, number 27, was foolhardy enough to safety blitz Joe Namath. It was a tactic Beeman never used again. Namath riddled Minnesota's junk defenses and deftly employed setback John Riggins, number 44, against their conventional ones. Riggins' size and strength make him invaluable as a 4th receiver for Namath, and his speed complements that of Barkham, Bell, and Castor. Riggins scored twice. Once by brutishly out-muscling the purple at the goal line, and then by displaying a nimbleness surprising in a 230-pound back. To stymie Fran Tarkenton, the Jets twisted their tackles. Number 85, Ed Gallagher, looped behind Carl Barzalauskas. With number 77 double-teamed by Minnesota, Gallagher had a free lane and a clean shot at Fran. Tarkenton negated these twisting, looping rushes by dumping quick passes to his own number 44, the multi-talented Chuck Foreman. Foreman turned these short passes into long gains, and eventually this strategy produced a pair of touchdowns by number 44. Foreman caught over 100 yards worth of passes and was so wide open that it seemed the Jets played with 10 men or Foreman vaporized in their secondary. Foreman's last touchdown resulted when number 25, Bob Prout, followed number 42, John Gilliam, through the Vikings formation. With 1 man less to block, Minnesota blasted Foreman to 6 points and a 29-21 victory.
In New York's damp and gloomy Shea Stadium, a white-shirted ghost came out of the past to terrorize the New York Jets. The Miami Dolphins of 1972 and 73 returned in their World Championship form to overwhelm the Jets 43-0. Joe Namath was unable to penetrate Miami's rebuilt defense and was intercepted 6 times. Due to injuries, the Dolphins' defensive unit has changed quite a bit since the championship years, with the famous no-names being replaced by some genuine no-names. Men like Charlie Babb, Randy Crowder, Don Reese, and Steve Toll, number 56, combined with veteran quarterback Bob Greasy, number 12, to hand Joe Namath his worst defeat ever. By the end of the game, the Jets were in worse shape than New York City's finances as 41-year-old Earl Morrall, number 15, chugged through their soggy defense for his longest run in 9 years. The affair between Joe Namath and the city of New York has been no mere autumn romance. He has quarterbacked the Jets for 11 years, and to his loyal followers, he will always be the most exciting passer in football. Throughout Namath's career, the Jets have lived off the passing game. But this season, unlike others, they are dying by it. In 6 games, Namath has thrown 16 interceptions, the most in pro football. On defense as well as on offense, the passing game has killed the Jets through the first half of the season. Their secondary has been consistently outmaneuvered, and as a result, the Jets have been scored on more often than any team in the NFL. Another factor in New York's defensive demise has been a woefully weak pass rush. New acquisitions like Big Billy Newsome have the quickness to reach the quarterback and frequently have seemed on the verge of a sack, only to have the quarterback escape and use the extra time to find the open spot in the secondary. Last Sunday, Newsome and the rest of the Jets' front four learned a great deal about rushing the passer from the Baltimore Colts, who forced Joe Namath to make 7 crash landings on the Memorial Stadium turf, including 3 voluntary belly flops to avoid the Colts' fierce rush. When Namath found the time to throw, however, he was right on target for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns. But until the Jets learn to pursue and tackle, this will never be enough to ensure victory. Baltimore's quarterback Burt Jones raced through the scattered Jet defenses for an early lead. Then the Colts went on to score 5 more touchdowns, amassing over 400 yards and thoroughly defeating the defenseless Jets 45-28. The Brown legacy covers all of pro football. A former Brown assistant, Weeb Eubank, was the only coach to win a world championship in both the NFL and AFL. When Weeb stepped down from the New York Jets, Brown's influence went second generation as Eubank's protege, Charlie Winter, took over. Last week, Winter sent his Jets against the Buffalo Bills with a problem that even Paul Brown lacks an answer to: how to stop O.J. Winter's defense responded by holding Simpson under 100 yards rushing, and Joe Namath solved the Bills' secondary with 2 touchdown passes, this one to Eddie Bell. But Winter's day turned sour when he made a questionable fourth-quarter decision. Passing up a 35-yard field goal that would have given the Jets an 8-point lead, Winter gambled on 4th down and lost. Buffalo quarterback Joe Ferguson promptly celebrated with a special play called 54 to the juice. Following Paul Brown's philosophy, Charlie Winter had made his own decision and determined his own fate. This time, Simpson's blazing speed spelled defeat. The 1-point win went to yet another disciple. Buffalo coach Lou Saban was Paul Brown's team captain in 1949. The Miami Dolphins are definitely in style this season, and any Doll fan worth his salt will swear that Coach Don Shula is genius personified. Shula took a good team which was riddled with injury and defection and made it better with an injection of young studs like defensive lineman Don Reese, the son of a mortician from Mobile, Alabama. While the new Dolphins have risen to the top of the AFC East, the cellar belongs to a team which creaks along on the mechanical knees of its star quarterback. Joe Namath and the New York Jets can still summon up sparks of greatness, but those occasions are getting fewer and farther between. And under the lights in Miami, the Dolphins were proving themselves a cut above all the rest. The names are more obscure now than ever, but veterans like Zonka, Warfield, Fernandez, Anderson, and Buoniconti have been replaced or filled in for without a loss of quality. Suddenly, the Miami Dolphins are one of the league's youngest teams with 16 players having 2 years or less experience. But so far, they are also one of pro football's finest teams, thanks to head coach Don Shula. With the most miraculous effort of his impressive coaching career, Shula has rebuilt his team on the run, and last week they tore into the lowly New York Jets. New York's Joe Namath had neither the line nor the legs to stand up to a fierce Miami rush put on by newcomers like Randy Crowder and Don Reese, number 76. Now, more than ever, Namath is dependent on perfect protection. When Miami flushed him out of the pocket, his greatness was negated, and the only place to go was down. While the Dolphin defense frustrated Namath, Miami's number 12, Bob Greasy, found time to throw, free and easy. Number 89, elusive Nat Moore, has replaced Paul Warfield as the Dolphins' big play receiver in an attack that is more evenly balanced since the departure of Larry Zonka's basic ball control. This year, Greasy can scramble around and come up with new ways for a fullback to score. One of Zonka's replacements, speedy Norm Boulash, tallied twice with pass receptions. But the night's most spectacular moment was provided by rookie Fred Solomon, an ex-quarterback from Tampa University. Solomon's daring and dazzle are typical of the remodeled Dolphins. The injection of uncharacteristic enthusiasm has increased production in almost every area. Against Namath, the defense picked off their 18th and 19th interceptions, 2 more than they had during all of '74 and tops in the NFL this season. This one was gathered in by flying Jake Scott. With a 27-7 victory over the Jets, a 7-1 record to lead the division by 2 games, and the 33rd win of their last 34 hometown decisions, the Miami Dolphins look like they are back in the groove of their championship years. A blend of solid veterans like Scott and improving youngsters like Reese and Crowder could be the mix that leads to the biggest home game of all next January 18th in the Orange Bowl. That game will be called Super Bowl number 10. Baltimore, there has been a long tradition of men who could put the ball in the end zone. And last week, a lot of those men, like jogging back Tom Matty, were on hand in Memorial Stadium for a trip down memory lane as the Colts held an old-timers reunion. One old-timer who looked like he still has the moves was Lenny Moore, who scored 113 career touchdowns, including 20 in 1964, to become the Colts' all-time leader. But times have changed, and the old guard has passed. Today's Colts are young, the sixth youngest team in the NFL. But like their predecessors, they know how to move that ball under the goalposts. The leader of the youth wave is quarterback Burt Jones, who can pass and can run. But there's more to it than that, because Jones leads by example. The example he sets is scramble, gamble, claw, and crawl. Just get results. It's a style teammates like number 26, Lydell Mitchell, have adopted to the utmost. And last week, the New York Jets stood hopelessly by as Jones, Mitchell, and company swamped them 52-19. The 52 points was the most registered by a Baltimore team since 1964, the year Lenny Moore set his record. Last week, the Colts were thunder on the ground and lightning in the air. This 90-yard Burt Jones to Roger Carr hookup broke a Colt record for the longest pass play. The old record was 89 yards, held jointly by Carr and Jones, who did it 2 weeks ago, and John Unitas and John Mackey, who did it in 1966. So the vibrant young Colts are in awesome company and breaking some heady records already. Throughout last Sunday, the Colt herd continued to stampede to pay dirt as number 23, Don McCauley, galloped in to make the score 28-6 before the half. There is no doubt that the Jets are in serious trouble, and flashes of brilliance like this Joe Namath to Ed Bell pass are increasingly rare. More familiar is the sight of Joe being jumped. He's been sacked 25 times this year already. This time by a Colt defense whose 36 sacks leads the NFL. So while Namath was assisted to his feet, Jones kept the Colts flying on this shot to Glenn Doughty. For Jones, it capped a 277-yard, 3-touchdown day, and he retired from the game early with a slight injury. But Baltimore kept right on rolling as Marty Domrese brought home the points, which put the Colts on top as the NFL scoring leaders. Let's not forget that Baltimore defense, because they too chipped in on number 72, defensive end Fred Cook's recovery and run. Baltimore's record now stands at 5-4, and their defense is rapidly catching up to the offense in terms of efficiency. So maybe those Miami Dolphins better keep a wary eye. However, offense and defense are only 2/3 of the way to the top. A very important 1/3 of the road to success is powered by the special teams, whose skills or lack of them can often turn a team or a game around. There is little doubt that the men of the special teams are special men. They appear in crucial situations rife with tension. Tiny Terry Metcalf led the robust St. Louis running attack into Shea Stadium, figuring to find a soft touch in the demoralized New York Jet defense. But sometimes in a battle of contrast, the underdogs will lash out in frustration and play over their heads. New York came out strong to take an early 3-0 lead. Then their success made them too daring. Linebacker John Ebersole and safety Dallas Howell planned a risky double blitz, but Terry Metcalf split the gap into a wide-open secondary. Metcalf's touchdown put the game back in proper perspective, and number 17, Jim Hart, added his part with a bombing run through the wide-open spaces of the New York deep zone. Mercurial Mel Gray scored twice, and Jim Hart retired after 3 quarters with some impressive stats. 11 for 13 for 242 yards. The other, more widely known quarterback didn't fare so well. Living legend Joe Namath leads the NFL in only one category for 1975, interception. His 22nd of the season was carried back 61 yards by Norm Thompson to close out a 37-6 St. Louis victory that kept the Cardinals solidly on top in the Eastern Division. While Jolly Terry Metcalf is facing the NFC's best ground attack, the most well-known proponent of this new mobile style of quarterbacking is Terry Bradshaw of the world champion Pittsburgh Steelers. Bradshaw is nimble enough to avoid the rush and actually prefers to throw on the run. Last Sunday, while leading his team to a 20-7 conquest of the New York Jets, Bradshaw not only passed for 2 touchdowns, but this 27-yard scramble was the longest running play of the game. Although the mobile or running quarterback seems like a rather recent trend in pro football, it actually began in 1960 when a small preacher's son from Georgia named Francis Asbury Tarkenton signed on to pass and scramble for the Minnesota Vikings.
Most quarterbacks that play today are mobile quarterbacks. The Staubachs, the Bradshaws, the Greaseys are all people who can run with the football, who can scramble, who can buy time to get more time to pass. And these are the guys that are the most successful in our game now. I think the time that a guy can go back 7 yards in the pocket and not move out is gone. And I think it's a hindrance to, let's say, Joe Namath, because he's got bad knees. He cannot move. But he does not get the advantage of being able to roll out, use a lot of play-pass action, or get out of trouble, and he has to sit back in the pocket. It's a tremendous handicap to him.
Only a few years ago, the passing records that Tarkenton is closing in on seemed like the future property of another man. But this season, Joe Namath leads the NFL only in throwing interceptions. His arm is still sound. It's his knees that are all but gone. Before each game, they are strapped so tightly in metal braces that they cut down his mobility, said Steeler tackle Dwight White, number 78. You know where he's going to be all the time. He's handicapped. Namath has suggested that he might retire at the end of this season. He has already retreated from the glitter of Manhattan's nightlife and rents a house in a quiet neighborhood of Garden City, a Long Island suburb. I've only been to New York City once in the past 8 weeks. The traffic's too bad, says Namath. It couldn't be any rougher than the Sunday traffic on the field. Jets, too, have suffered this year. But last week in New England, the breaks began to come their way. Finally, after 8 straight losses, they were headed in the right direction. Led by number 26, Carl Garrett's score, the New Yorkers jumped to an early lead. New England quarterback Steve Grogan retaliated against the Jets secondary, which at times seemed to be attending another game. But Randy Vataha's score was the last they would give up until the battle was decided. And the man who made the decision was number 44, John Riggins, who pounded the Pats for 154 hard-earned rushing yards. Twice, Riggins crunched through the New England line to score. The big running back from Kansas has been an erratic performer throughout most of his 5-year career, but last week, even a slight injury could not stop him. In fact, when Riggins is right in mind and body, there's very little that can stop him. This 37-yard chug gave the Jets a 30-14 last quarter lead, which seemed safe enough until New England's version of number 44 took wing. Don Calhoun is a second-year running back from Kansas State, and his score left the Patriots trailing by only 9 points. But 9 points was a little more than New England could make up, because their next score didn't come until the last play of the game, as the Jets won 30-28 and now share the cellar in the AFC East with New England.
Number 87 anchored the left side of the line and was a crushing force at the point of attack.
Although they did lead the NFL in fumble-causing collisions, the defense that used to be known as the Doomsday Machine was somewhat more generous with points than it has been in recent seasons. Perhaps it was the absence of leaders like Bob Lilly and Cornell Green. But for whatever reason, the 1975 Dallas defense gave up more points than in any other season in the past 8. Last week, the New York Jets took a fast 14-0 lead, but then the carnivorous Cowboys gave Joe Namath the taste of the same treatment they had given Billy Kilmer the week before. Namath could complete only one pass all day for a net gain of -3 yards before the super-quick Dallas pass rush stampeded him right out of the game. For Namath, it was a fitting end to an abysmal season. For the Cowboys, it was the last shot at a stationary target before this week's encounter with a somewhat more mobile quarterback. But during the season, as we said earlier, the Cowboys did prove to be the league's best at knocking the ball loose from any kind of target.